Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Ultraverse podcast with Chase and Casey, where we talk about all things Ultraverse.
This is our very first guest appearance episode. We are super excited to have JJ Goodrich on here. He's our good friend. He's an amazing ultra runner. He's one of the very first ambassadors for Ultraverse. He's been with us from the get-go.
Yeah.
And he's just a hell of a good dude. Thank you for being on here, JJ. Let's get rolling.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You
Yeah.
bet.
All right, JJ. So, where are you from and what do you do for a living?
I'm from the mountains just outside of San Diego, California. And work with a tree service, a local tree service, Tarzan's Tree Service. And we do mainly like fire clearance, maintenance, dead tree removal. So I do a lot of physical labor work, which has,
Mm-hmm.
been good for ultra training, especially.
Yeah. You also picked up a new side gig, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been actually just started ultra running. I became an ultra running certified coach, so I've been taking on some athletes now and got a couple new athletes and very
Mm-hmm.
excited about that because that's
Yeah.
been fun and motivating on like a different side of things. It's been very cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's awesome. I was excited to hear that you were
Yeah.
doing that because I know that you will do awesome at that.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
kind of what we
So,
both said. We're like, wow, JJ, he's going to do great at that.
yeah. So if
Oh,
anyone out
thank you.
there listening is looking for a coach, give JJ a shout out.
Definitely.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the typical terrain that you get to train on.
Terrain wise, I get a good mix up here. I live by a lot of trails, so I get a lot of really technical single track trail running. I got fire road, like dirt fire roads to train on. I do some road running as well locally. Even hit the track here and there, so I get a good mix. But I've been working the last few years because Summit 200 has been my main goal. Been working a lot more hills, mountains, going to elevation for training camps, doing a lot more weightlifting and a lot more consistent weightlifting. Um, but yeah, a lot of trail running and a lot of hill running lately up where I'm at.
That's awesome. And what are the temps for you like this time of year?
Right now, it's been unseasonably warm late into the year up here, but right now it's actually rainy and chilly for up here. I think it's like in the 40s. I think when I woke up it was in the 30s.
Damn.
Um, so it's actually kind of chilly and cold and wet, which is kind of a nice change. It's been dry and warm.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's been 60s here for
Every
the
day.
last
Yeah.
2 weeks. It's
It's
been
been super
beautiful.
nice.
Really
Oh, that's
nice.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been great.
Um, so let's kind of talk about your journey into becoming the badass that JJ Goodrich is and becoming an ultra runner. So first of all, when did you start running long distances? Were you a runner in high school? Were you an athlete in high school? What did the evolution look like into becoming an ultra runner?
Well, I started out doing some martial arts. I did karate. A little bit later, like, maybe 14, 15, I picked that up. I ran occasionally with my mom, who would drag me along on runs here and there, but I never ran like super consistently. I think I'd done some road halves back in the day, and I ran like a 130 road half with like minimal training.
Uh-huh.
So that some talent was there for sure,
Yeah.
but my dad passed away in 2017, and that was like just, I was kind of in shape then still, but I wasn't really like focused on it. I was just kind of partying a bit and just, living. But that kind of like made me want to focus in on something, so I chose running and I signed up for the Peak 50K. I DNF'd that year in 2018, but I was super motivated from that. And so I hired a coach and came back 1 year later, won that race, set the course record that stood 6 years. It did get beaten this last year, so I got to go take it
Mhm.
back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that was kind of the what got me started in that, and I've just never looked back. Each year I kind of go for a new goal and try to push it a little bit more in one way or another.
Mhm.
That's awesome, man. So it kind of sounds like your parents had quite a bit to do with it. I never knew that you actually started running a little bit with your mom. That's
Mm-mm. Yeah,
cool.
that's cool.
And then with your dad's passing, that kind of just gave you the motivation. something to do, something to put that energy to. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how we came to know one another. So help me out here, dear. We started Ultraverse Supplements, started the supplement company.
Yep.
And did JJ reach out before we actually put Hell Creek on, or was it?
I think so. I think you were an ambassador before we even race directed a single race.
I think
I
it
can't remember.
was. I think it was right before the Sticks. Even I was an ambassador right before the Sticks, and then I found that race because I was like, oh, I want to do a race in all 50 states of different distances and terrain, and I wanted to do a race in Kansas because Kansas called to me, and I kept looking. I had a month that I could be off for work. So I looked, I was like, oh, the Sticks. I was like, this sounds like very interesting, very unique. And so I picked that one and looked at your guys' website from there and like was like, whoa, like I'm all about this. And then got into your guys' supplements and became an ambassador, and the rest is history because I've been ambassador I think a couple years now.
Well, the Sticks would have been our first year of the Sticks was 2022. So
and he was there the first year.
He was there. So over 3 years now.
Yeah, 3 years.
Which is crazy.
And so the only race we would have put on at that point would have been Hell Creek,
the
very first year. Yeah. So you've been with us basically from the go. As far as our race directing business is concerned. And then you've stuck with us. And the cool thing about JJ is, one of the many cool things is that he lives in California, and ever since he's been an ambassador, he has made it a point to make it to one of our races, which are primarily in the Midwest and Colorado.
Every year. Yeah, which is awesome.
It's awesome. And he's kicked ass at all of them.
Yeah.
So let's go into those a little bit. Let's go into the races that you ran with us. You mentioned the Sticks.
2022. The Sticks. You did the 6 hour.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your experience with that.
Yeah, that one, I think I remember my training going into that one. I had gotten sick, so I didn't have as long of a build as I wanted. And I was in good shape, but I wasn't in great shape. But my goal for that one was to start out a little faster because I'm a sluggish starter. So I was like, oh, I'll use that race to start out faster. I ended up just like having a great first 3 hours and a rough last 3 hours. But it was an epic race. I love that part of Kansas, and the rolling, soft grass was just epic to run around. And it was just such a party. I remember I was like, wow, this is such a fun environment. Aside from the race being so cool itself, the community there around Ultraverse and the race was just, very, very like a different level. I remember that specifically. That was very cool. And I remember the barn cats too.
Yeah, there's still some out there.
Yeah. It's probably like the third evolution since you've been out there.
Yeah, there's been generations come and go. They don't last very long, unfortunately.
They keep coming, but they don't stick around.
Yeah.
I like that loop course format a lot too. It's very cool.
It is, and we really like the road loop that's thrown in there as well to kind of like strategize it a little bit too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pasture is not easy. I think a lot of people underestimate it. They think they're going to be able to fly on there because there's not necessarily a ton of elevation gain and loss, but it's soft and it's sideways part of the time. So, it's pretty tough. But I think you ended up winning that, right? I mean, you didn't hit your goal,
that year.
But yeah.
I want to come back to that one eventually because I do like that loop course format and maybe do like the 24-hour or something.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. So I guess the next one you ran with us was the Hell Creek 20 miler, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the next one was the Hell Creek 20 miler, and I loved that race a lot. That one I was in very, very top shape for because I was building towards a 50-mile race in December that year. And a lot of the trails I run on out here are very similar to the Hell Creek course. So I just felt very dialed in for that distance, that pace, that course. I loved that course. It was one big 20-mile loop, nice rolling, buttery single track, but good elevation gain still. I think it was 2,000 feet for about 20 miles. And that race, I went out with Aaron, who ended up taking second.
Yeah.
He's a great dude, great runner. And I remember he's going out pretty quick, maybe quicker than I would have wanted just because I'm a slow starter for the first mile. But I just stuck to his heels and warmed up. And then I knew at the first aid station at mile, I think it was 11, I was like, I'm not
Yep.
going to stop. I'm just going to keep going because he doesn't have any gear, so he's going to have to stop. And I had
Yeah,
Mhm.
my
yeah,
backpack on. So
Right.
he stopped, and then I not only kept going, I picked it up like a minute
Mhm.
per mile pace from there and
yeah.
just
Yeah.
crushed that race. And I
Mhm.
love that race memory a lot. And that area of Kansas was very different from the sticks, but
Mhm.
also very beautiful and very cool.
It is for sure.
Yeah, you absolutely destroyed that
Yeah.
race. That is still the course record by a lot.
I don't know if it's still by a lot. I think we had someone come close this year.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that close.
I guess
I think it was still like 15 minutes,
maybe. Yeah.
which is quite a
Yeah.
bit for a 20 miler.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember every picture of you guys from that year from the photographers. He's there, and then you're literally right behind him in all of those pictures.
Yeah.
And then I was up at Hell Hill when you guys came through, and you had come up the hill and asked if you needed to stop or do anything, and I'm like, nope. And you're like, bloop, and you were out of there,
Yep.
never to be seen again.
Yeah. I remember
You were at the finish.
I was at the finish and I knew JJ was coming because they tell us out at Hell Hill when someone's inbound so we can kind of be expecting them. But I didn't expect you to come that fast.
Right. Yeah.
And I saw you or someone said, JJ's coming, and I saw you make the corner, and you
Mhm.
were just frickin' flying. And I'm like, holy shit, I don't have anything ready. I don't have the iPad, because at the time we didn't have a timing system.
We just used the iPad to
Yeah.
time it. Yeah.
And I think I barely got you checked off the box when you crossed the line in time, but
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That was a good race that year between you and Aaron for sure.
It was, but
Yeah.
I mean, JJ ended up beating him by quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how he said that I figured I'd stick to Aaron's heels and kind of warm up. If you're warming up with Aaron,
You're fast.
then you're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good runner for sure.
Yeah, he's a good dude too.
So then after Hell Creek, you ran the Cowboy 100, which was your first 100 miler. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Cowboy 100, I think that was 2023, and the year I ran that. And that was, yeah, my first 100 miler. I'd done 350 milers leading up to that, but no 100K, nothing close to that. Um, and I remember practicing for that one a lot on flat surfaces, and I was working run walk intervals. I started that race very conservative. I think like in the very back walking.
Mm-hmm.
But I figured I would just stay steady and work my way up. And I had a smart conservative race, which I always kind of am conservative the first time I run a distance. But I ended up taking, I think, fourth overall and third overall male,
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
because I just kept moving up past people through the nighttime, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that race was Nebraska is very special to me, in Nebraska and Kansas. I love racing out there a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to go back to that one. I think that's a great first 100 miler for anyone that's if anyone's thinking about doing the 100 mile distance. I would recommend that one because of how, to me, it's very scenic. You get to go point to point, see 100 miles in
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska on foot. Um, places I probably would have never seen. And the aid stations are very well stocked. They've got everything you need. It's town to town. I remember the locals even were very friendly. Someone left us like cookies and water at an extra station. That's an amazing race. I love that memory in that area. So I'd run that one again. It's also good for experienced 100 milers if you're looking to get like a 100 mile time PR, because it is a
Mm-hmm.
very
Sure.
flat course and it's on hard packed dirt, so it's or crushed gravel. So it's you get a return, you get the energy return, but you don't quite get the pounding of like a pavement or an asphalt.
Yeah.
So great
That's a
course
good
too.
point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Yeah, and JJ also sub 24 that
He
as well
did.
the first year,
Correct. Yep.
first 100 first and sub 24,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty awesome. And I think I agree that it is a good course for first timers. But one thing to keep in mind is that it is a long distance between
It
aid
is. Yeah.
stations.
I feel like your typical 100 milers have shorter distances between aid stations. You don't have to carry as much, but this 100 is built off the back of a 200.
Yep.
So you have to carry that much. I remember watching the tracker and being like, wow, JJ's really going conservative on this one. We were just like, I wonder when he's going to step it up. I
Yeah.
wonder how, like, he's going to have a lot left in the tank. And at
Again,
the
he
end.
flew through the line
Yeah,
again.
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, let's talk about the Summit 200, right? That's the next one.
It is. That
Yeah.
just
Big
happened this
dog.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't too long ago. So let's spend a little bit more time on the Summit since it's a little bit more recent and such an epic adventure, I guess. So what was your training like for the Summit specifically? What did you do different? I know you said that you focused on altitude and elevation gain and loss.
Yeah, the summit I knew about because you'd kind of mentioned it to me before I think it officially got put on. So I think before I raced it, I'd given myself almost 3 years to kind of prepare and to build. Um, and especially when I thought about doing it, it scared me so bad because I was like, oh man, that's the 100 was far and I felt good there, but that was a long distance, a long time. And to think of a 200 in the mountains, very outside, that is outside more of what I train on and what I'm used to. Um, so it was a different challenge, but it was exciting because it felt like the next progression and it felt like the next thing that would, get me in better shape, and in the next adventure. Um, but I think from Cowboy, I had done another 100 miler, two extra 100 milers before I took on the summit. So I got more experience at night and certain gear things. And I remember I would just start doing camps more often if I could, where I'd go to Big Bear or Flagstaff, or this up in the Sierras, up north a little bit and north of me. Go hit some 14ers, but I'd go for like anywhere from 2 to 5 days at a time. Sometimes I'd go for a week, but it'd be 2 to 5 days mostly, and I'd just get as much mileage and vert as I could in those days. And I'd focus on the uphill. I'd focus a lot on nose breathing, to specifically work the musculature around my breathing muscle, or the breathing muscles around my rib cage and things. So even when I would mouth breathe after that, I feel like I could get an extra little 10% of my breath. So I do a lot of nose breathing and just a ton more weightlifting because that was what was lacking in my game a lot. I just didn't do enough of it. So a lot of mainly deadlifts and squats, some weighted lunges, a lot of core work. I did spend time doing some slower efforts where I'd go with a group of friends where I'd be just kind of going at their pace. So it'd be more of a time on feet thing, and I wouldn't be like exerting myself super hard, but I'd be practicing gear. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I worked a lot of ranges of paces and timing and fitness. I still worked some fast stuff. Um, I worked a lot of walk run intervals. But yeah, for me, the biggest difference in the confidence building was building to higher mileage each week. And a lot of it was knowing that I could do the time in the mountains and having those days that were maybe 30 miles. I think one of the days was like a 30-mile day with 11K of vert up, doing a 14er, some climbing, very, very, very technical stuff looking back. I think class 4 at one point, and I'm not a climber, so for me that was scary but fun. So I just felt by the time Summit came around, I had 3 years to build for it. I felt physically stronger. I'd gotten a little bit heavier mentally. I felt like I was in such a good place for Summit by the time it came around, even though I'd gone through so many seasons of life in 3 years, so many changes. Um, but I felt like by the time Summit came around in my mind, I knew I was finishing that race.
Yeah,
Um, so confident in that.
Mm-hmm.
that's awesome. I feel like training for those kind of races like the 200s and especially the mountain 200s is so fun because of the type of training that it requires. It's almost like you get to go out and just explore in an adventure and you don't necessarily always have to go super fast. Go out and run up and down mountains. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? That just sounds like the perfect day to me.
Yeah, the views in my training for Summit 200 and the places I went for it, definitely some of the most beautiful, training block I've ever done. So
Yeah,
it was very cool to train for it.
it's awesome. Let's talk about your favorite sections and highlights of the summit. What do you think your favorite section was?
Ooh, the Summit. Yeah, I'd have to say I loved all of it. That was another conservative race, but I did finish quite quick the last 25 miles. I
Mm-hmm.
felt very good, and I'd say my favorite section was the last section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Partially just because of the big climb. I'm a fan of. I love the climbs. I've gotten better at descending, but climbs in particular, I have a strength there, and I really enjoy it. So that one had a big climb. I think it was 14 miles and like 3,000 feet of gain. It was to finish it off, and at night, um, and it was over that mountain pass and down to the beginning. And that was the
Yeah.
first time in the race. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm right there, you know.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that was just beautiful. I saw moose on that section too, knowing I was finishing. Already thinking ahead to training and different things I was going to do for the next time because I knew I was going to race it again even then. And then knowing I'd get that belt buckle. Um, so there's a lot of different emotions there and happiness in that section. And then also it was just gorgeous, you
Mhm.
know, views through the woods and through the mountain pass and at night because I remember at the top you could see the city lights below. That
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
was really cool. I think Jonathan had told me uh, about that. Jonathan Prosser.
Mhm.
Um, he told me about that section. If you're coming through at night, it's really pretty.
Yeah.
But there's a
Yeah.
lot of good sections on there. I think there was one flat section that I really enjoyed too. It was like the only flattish section, but it was like 18 miles around like a cow pasture or something.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
was very cool.
Yeah. I like that last section too. It's pretty
Mhm.
epic.
Yeah.
It used to end on
Wreck path.
mostly wreck path, and we ended up changing it to where the
That
second
big
year
descent is your finish.
where it
Yeah.
kind of ended on a more epic note,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it was a good move.
Yeah, I think a lot of people either love that section or you hate it.
Well, it's tough. I
It's
mean,
tough,
but
yeah.
most of them are.
Yeah.
After the first
Yeah,
few, they're all pretty tough.
definitely. Do you wanna talk a little bit about your strategy going into Summit? Like, what your goals were, what your expectations were?
Yeah, my strategy going in, so I was definitely in the best shape by far going into that one. I could feel it and see it in all the times and the things I was running um, against my own times, setting a bunch of like Strava FKTs, you know, things that had sat for a decade plus some of these times. Um, I was crushing all these mountains and these times and the distance. I remember my peak week I'd finished with a 100-mile week, like 17K of vert. So I felt very ready there. But my strategy was just to finish. So I didn't want to be competitive because I didn't want to go out too hard or to risk not finishing because I
Mhm.
wanted to be able to see the whole course and to feel that experience. And I knew the second time around, then I could sharpen up, I could train, I could make adjustments, and then I can go for the win and course record, which I do plan to in 2027.
Nice.
That's awesome.
But I just wanted to get the finish on this one and still
Mhm.
push myself like late the last 25 miles. I knew I was going to finish then, so I did push myself and allow to myself to run most of that. And the last 14-mile section, I almost matched first place time, so I was
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
right there on that. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was to kind of get the experience in, to talk to people. I talked to like maybe over half the runners
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the race at one point or another, and really like listened to their stories, their advice, gained experience, took in the views. It was just kind of to enjoy it. I knew I was in the best shape. I knew maybe I could have gotten a faster time, but I feel like what I wanted out of it, I executed and I got everything, and I'm going for that win next time though. So I'm excited.
Man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, we were watching the tracker, obviously, and you hooked up with Jeff Reese for a lot of it, who we were like, that's a great
Yeah,
idea, sticking together with somebody.
yeah. Jeff and I worked together for a lot of it, and he's a great dude. That we got a lot closer through that and helped each other navigate and push and just kind of like keep each other company, you know, when you're
Mhm.
going through the nights and lightly hallucinating and stuff. And
Mhm.
very proud of Jeff. And I hooked up with another Jeffrey as well the first night, which helps because you know, that was my strategy too, is I wanted to kind of work with, because I didn't have pacer crew. I wanted to
Mhm.
kind of work with the other runners at nighttime, which was where I felt the nerves. So the first night especially I did, and then I had some time alone at night, which was cool too. But I tried to stick with other runners at nighttime.
Mhm.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah.
Um, and I've kind of noticed that about you, and I want to kind of point that out. And this is more of a comment than a question, but I would consider JJ like an elite runner. Has the potential to compete, possibly win about any race that he goes to. But at the same time, you have that ability to kind of just say, I'm going to take this race conservatively and I'm going to try to get the full experience out of it, especially when you're dealing with new, longer distances and stuff like that. Whereas we've seen quite a few elite runners that if everything's not going their way or if they don't have a chance at podium, then they just kind of quit.
Yeah.
So I admire that attribute.
Kudos.
For you. Yeah, kudos to that, to be able to just sometimes just get through it and take in the whole experience.
Yeah, I feel like I gain different things out of different, sometimes I'm pushing for the course record. Sometimes I'm just getting the experience and the views. And
Yeah,
you definitely get different things out of each one, it seems like.
sure. I can't wait to see you come after that course record in 2027.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
awesome.
same.
I'm pumped. I wanted to talk about a special gift that was bestowed upon you on the
Yeah.
trail. The Colorado gods gifted
Yeah.
you, didn't they?
I found a ground treasure, I believe somewhere between, I can't remember, somewhere between mile 80 and 100, I believe, on Tiger Road. I look to the side of the road as it's just a dirt fire road, and I'm a little bit ahead of the guy I'm running with, Jeffrey at the time, Jeffrey Hall, and I look to the side and there's a little dispensary bag, like a weed bag, and I'm like, no way. So I just pick it up, just curious to see like what flavor it was or what variety or whatever. And I look and there's like it's full of weed still. So I'm like, oh, that is a gift for after this race. For some reason I took it as a good omen. I was like, now I know I'm gonna finish this race. I'm gonna enjoy that as a little after celebration treat and post recovery herbal delight or whatever. But yeah, that was a great experience. I was like, of course in a Colorado race I'm gonna find some weed on the ground.
Yeah, you're just picking up trash for people.
That's right.
All.
Yeah,
You're just being a good person.
Yeah, it's picking up the litter.
It's the race that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
legal.
gonna put it in my drop bag for later. I put it in my little pocket for a while and then I dropped it off once I got to the aid station.
Don't need that tempting you for the rest of the race.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember where he told us that originally in the race.
I think we were at breakfast.
Finish, or was it at the finish?
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
I hadn't had enough sleep.
That was good.
Yeah.
That's funny. So that basically wraps up the summit, I think.
I think so, yeah.
JJ, I wanted to ask you, there's always a time, and this is something I'll probably ask about every ultra runner that comes on here. As much as we enjoy the sport, there always comes a time in almost every race where shit just sucks and you want to be done. You want to be out of the race. It hurts. You're mentally exhausted. And it's really hard to stop those negative thoughts from entering your brain. Most people have some sort of a why or something that motivates them to keep them going, and I realize that can change here and there. What is your why? What is something that you find yourself going back to keep you pushing through those tough times?
I think my why is like a lot of times I'll think of myself as an old man, JJ, looking back, and I think I'd be disappointed with myself if I didn't get to a certain spot with my running, and I think I know internally that I can get to a certain level. So I think it'd be wasting the gift to a certain degree if I didn't push myself to that level while I'm young. And I think I'll miss, I enjoy when things hurt and I enjoy when pushing through those moments and the grind because I know that that's like a gift of youth that you get to even push yourself to that level to feel those things. So I'm very grateful. My why is just extreme gratitude for being out there with other people that are you know, sometimes pushing through recovery, addiction recovery, different things. Maybe it's their first time doing that distance. They run for loved ones lost. So I'm very motivated by that. The views are definitely my why. I love seeing the different scenery and going on road trips and, seeing the different cultures of states and foods and ways of living, and different people. I think a lot of my why also is just to keep pushing to that level. Like I never want to let myself step back. So I feel like I have to keep pushing that bar a little bit forward, a little bit forward. And it's just like a deep desire. Part of me, I can't explain it, but I just feel like I wake up just absolutely pumped to go out and train and to go out and do that next workout, that next long run, the next race I've got coming up. It's like just an internal draw that's extremely strong. It's always there. And I've had moments where like, in races where I've like the Pirates Cove before I did Summit, I wanted to quit very badly, and I was like, I don't even know if I wanted to competitively keep running.
Yep.
Um, and thankful to my crew, Johnny Walker and my girlfriend Catherine, who kept me in that. An important part there was just shifting my mindset for a moment, getting me comfortable, and then working through that, my mind just like almost leveled up, and I got so much mentally stronger. So part of the why is also just self-improvement and evolving and working through issues and mental things and getting better. I think my why is a lot of different things I notice, and it
Mhm.
does
Yep.
change.
Mhm.
But that's kind of like a rambling description of some of the reasons.
No, that's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
very good answer.
It's a mature answer, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So aside from all the awesome Ultraverse races that you've done, what are some of the other races that have helped shape you?
I've done a lot of races. I've done some road races too that I've loved. My first ever sub 5 minute mile was a big one. That one was in 2019 at the Speedy Santa competitive road mile. I dropped like 17 seconds off my mile PR there, and that was just kind of like a big jump in my fitness and mental confidence. I'd say the Peak 50K was one of the biggest races that shaped me because that was my first ultra that I had attempted in 2018. I DNF'd, but it was never even like a moment where I felt discouraged. It was so inspiring and motivating to me because I started out too fast in that race, but I was with the top guys for like 18 miles, and then I threw up and had to walk back and I DNF'd. But I was like, I was with those top guys and I was just hiking and like didn't know what I was doing with training. I was like, I could do this, you know what I mean? And then
Mhm.
next year, of course, I won, and that winning that when I didn't even think that was something that was possible at that point. I thought maybe top five, maybe top three. That was a huge mental boost and really made me like double down into training. And I was like, okay, I could do this. I could be actually good at running this long distance stuff.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. I'd say the ABC 50 miler was a big one because that one I ran two different times. That was my first 50-mile race. I got second there, and then trained all year. And then the next year, I dropped my mile PR again, 10 more seconds, and then dropped like an hour off my ABC 50-mile time to get first place that year. That's probably my favorite California race I've ever done. Very
Uh,
pretty. You're in the mountains for a marathon, and then you're pretty much dropped down to the desert for the last, 24 miles.
That's cool.
that is awesome.
But I'd say overall, Summit's 200 is still my favorite race overall.
Yeah.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, we agree. So what do you have coming up?
Coming up, I just signed up for we'll be in Maryland because Catherine's family's in Maryland, so we'll be there for Christmas time.
Mhm.
So, doing another new state, I'm gonna do Pennsylvania, which is close. So I got an 8-hour race on a 2.5 mile loop course in Pennsylvania. The course record's 50 miles, so I'll be going for 52 at least.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so I know I could do that. It's a little bit of hill gain on each lap, but I'm in shape and feeling very good for that one. And that'll be a very good test before Pirates Cove in March because Pirates Cove is also a 2 mile loop course, pirate themed, just like the 8-hour race. So they're very similar, so it'll be a good push for that. And then I got 100 milers self-supported January 3rd with my friend Ruben, who's helped me a ton with training the last few years and helped keep me going strong through my rough patch that I had. Helped keep me training and focused. We actually just ran yesterday 18 miles. He's a beast. But he's going to do his first 100 miler January 3rd, so I'm going to be there helping him with that. And then
Nice.
late
Awesome.
March, I got Pirates Cove 24-hour race, and that's the Eagle where I'll be going for the course record.
Nice.
Awesome, man. Can't wait to follow along with all that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about JJ actually paced me in for the finish of the Triple Crown last year at the Moab 240. Jumped in with me at, what do we have, 40 miles, JJ, left?
Yeah,
40 or
miles.
50, yeah, something like
40
that.
40 miles left. Jumped in with me and took me home, and we had a hell of a good time out there.
I wouldn't know. I didn't get to go.
Well, kind of a good time. I mean, it hurt a little bit, but JJ was just like the best pacer ever. I mean, I had a ton of good pacers at that race, but he wasn't pushing me too hard. He knew that I just wanted to get across the line at
that point.
At that point, you know, I had 3 200s in the last 5 months. I was absolutely exhausted going into the Moab 240.
Yeah, well, when you add the Triple Crown into our race schedule, it was a lot.
Yes, it was. And so I remember I told JJ I was just really tired, and I was telling him how the first few days I was just like looking at places and giving them a rating on how good of a place it would be to take a trail nap. And that kept my mind engaged. And so he kind of started playing along. He's like, hey, what about that place? What would you give that? That'd be a good place to take a nap. Let's go take a nap over there. I'm like, this is awesome. But yeah, if you could want to talk about the pacing experience just a little bit.
Yeah, the pacing was one of my best running experiences ever, because that was mid-October there, I believe, mid-October, and we'd planned to pace you in there, and I wanted to help you with that, because yeah, at least once a year I want to do something Ultraverse related, whether it's a race, pacing, volunteering, whatever it ends up being. I want to do something each year with Ultraverse. So that was that, you know, that year, and I remember had just gone through, you know, divorce process like a week before that. Kind of was in a rough spot mentally, but I knew I had gotten in really good shape to chase for that 40 miles. As far as, you know, training, slower pacing, hiking, just overall fitness and gear and things. Also, you know, researching different things. But I knew I wanted to still chase and also for me, because it gave me something to focus on, and it was fun. I still got to road trip out there, you know, tent camp out there, and then we got to stay in a house together with the pacers and things. That was a great memory and a lot of fun. And then when Chase was ready to go, I remember we took off in the daylight, so that was cool because we saw a lot of really cool views. Chase had already run 200 miles at this point, so I was just pacing him in from 200 to 240, the finish line. And I remember being specifically surprised. It's like Chase is still really lucid and like very like aware and like, you know, very in it still. He looked strong and steady. So that was a very fun experience. And I remember, we had an interval thing going where we're like, all right, every so often we're going to start looking for spots to sit down and take a rest. So that was a lot of fun, and very pretty, like sunset going through the night. You know, being out there in Utah with the stars and things. And I also remember thinking it was crazy to see some of the people, how out of it they were, you know, because rightfully so, they're doing 240 miles. But I remember like one guy was like, you know, pointing down to like the canyon, like down below. He's like, do I go down there to the finish or something? We're like, no, like just keep going straight.
If you want to die.
Yeah, if you want to die.
It was so lucid because I was sleeping so much.
Right, yeah.
We're taking naps all the time. There's been races where I haven't been near that lucid.
No, I've got to hang out with Chase when he wasn't very lucid.
Do you remember that guy who's like, there was that guy that was running beside us with his pacer, and his pacer was just on his ass. He was like, come on, you got to run. You got to run every single down. And we're at like mile 210, you know, and this guy looked like he was about to fall over and die.
Yeah, he looked like he was just about to die. He looked like he was pushing him way too hard.
Yeah, and it was his first thing over 200, you know.
Yeah.
And there was another runner and his pacer with us, and the guy's like, come on, you got to run every down. And the guy's like, no, actually, you don't.
There's no rule.
You have plenty of time. I mean, I get it. Like, if you're trying to get to...
like if you have a specific goal in mind. Yeah.
If you got something that you're trying to motivate yourself or whatever. But at this point, he was probably shooting for like...
finishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had that time at Tahoe too, where like that was just motivating you at the very
Exactly. Yeah.
end, where you
Nobody
were
can pass me.
nobody can
Nobody
pass
can
me.
pass me.
Yeah. So I
It's,
think it just depends on
Yeah,
the
you,
yeah.
situation.
you always have different race mantras and things that keep you going, it seems like.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, in Tahoe, we were still that was the first one, so we were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for that one.
Yeah.
Didn't know what lay ahead at the
But it
next
was
two.
like me who wanted it too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like my pacer
I
said,
never would
"You
say,
got to
Chase, you
pass
got to
that
go
guy."
faster. Never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never.
But
I remember we got to chat a lot on that one too during the miles, and feel like I got to know you a lot better. So that was very cool.
that was awesome. Yeah, I felt like that with all my pacers, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really cool to spend some time with you guys. And I just want to say that the thing that was so amazing was like I didn't even know that you were going through the divorce and stuff like that. We jumped in together. You never said a thing about it, and then I think I asked about
How she was.
how she was, and you told me like while
Mm-hmm.
we were pacing. I'm like, holy shit, JJ, you didn't have to come here and pace me when you're dealing with that. But that just shows what kind of a guy you are. You're a
Mm-hmm.
hell of a great guy. You're a hell of a good friend, and I understand that it probably helped you to get away from it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit as well. But really cool.
Yes.
Um, so this is something that we're also going to talk to all of our runners about a little bit. Contrary to popular belief, you guys are humans outside of running.
Yeah.
And we have other hobbies and other things that we like to do. So the rules are with this, you can't mention ultra running
Or training.
whatsoever, or training or anything to do with ultras. But tell us about JJ, who is not an ultra runner. What do you like to do? What are your hobbies? What are your passions?
Definitely, I'd say road tripping is at the top of the list. So
Yeah.
surrounding the unmentionable racing training. I do like to road trip to a lot of these places because I like to see the landscape change. I have an old Volvo wagon, great for road trips. I love camping and just trying different food spots, different food varieties. Craft sodas along the way, seeing random billboards and talking to locals. I really like the road trips. I also love writing. I do a lot of poetry writing. I've been published a few times, different magazines. Shout out to Chill Magazine, who's published me in a lot of their issues, including their new issue 5 Rose. Um, and so I do a lot of writing, a lot of just anything creative. I do some drawing sometimes. I love reading comic books. I read regular books too, but mostly comic books, it seems like these days. Um, so a lot of stuff like that. Love food in general. That's why my Instagram tag is running chowhound because it's very equal.
Mm.
I love food and running very
Yeah.
equally.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Works out well
I
that
love
way
food
then.
as well.
Yeah, Chase loves food as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a rapid fire with JJ?
Yeah, rapid fire. So we kind of did this. It wasn't rapid, but we kind of did this when you were pacing me in Moab. It was kind of a game I thought of, like, to keep us interested. So the rules are with this, I'm going to ask you your favorite of all time of a few different things, and you just tell me what they are as quick as possible. If you take more than 10 seconds, the next time we see you, then Casey gets to punch you in the face.
Nice.
Yeah. Sounds
Cool.
fair. I like
It's a good game.
that.
I'm in.
That's a
I
good
just,
game.
yeah, it'll be a blast. All right, here we go. Rapid fire. Favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, favorite movie of all time. Um, Amelie.
Amelie. Okay.
Okay. Look it up. I don't know anything about it.
Gotcha. That was 8
It's
seconds. You were 2 seconds away from a punch in
yeah.
the face there, just
Yeah.
so you know.
He just
I,
panicked a little bit.
I knew I was getting close.
Yeah. Favorite book of all time?
Ooh, favorite book of all time. Um, Running with Sherman is up there.
Running with Sherman.
Right.
Amelie, Running with Sherman. Uh, are you a gamer? Like video games? Do you like video games?
I do love video games. I haven't played nearly as much, this last year with training, but I want to get back to it for sure.
Okay, so favorite video game of all time.
Ooh, favorite video game. I'd say Sunset Riders for the Super Nintendo.
Sunset Riders, right
It's like a
on.
side-scrolling Western shooter kind of game.
Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
I never had the Super Nintendo. I had a Sega, but
Mm-hmm.
With Sega.
yeah, Sega was
Love
awesome.
the Sega.
Last one, favorite song of all time.
Ooh,
That's a
favorite
tough one.
song. That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to say off the top of my head, Bad Fish by Sublime.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
That was a good one.
Good job, man. No punches.
No punches
No
from
face
me.
punching.
God, darn it. Dang it.
We got to ask harder questions.
Yes, definitely. Well, to wrap it up, JJ, you said you are a coach now. So do you want to let everybody know how to get a hold of you if they're interested in your services?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm on mostly on Instagram. I'm running Chowhound on Instagram, running_Chowhound. And you could reach me on there through DM. Also, I'm on Facebook, James Goodrich on there. Or if you want to email me, my email is jamesgoodrich7@gmail.com. You can get me on there as well.
Awesome. And we could probably put that in the notes too.
Yeah, we can put that in the show
comments and
notes for
stuff,
sure.
too.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Any other plugs you want to shout out? I mean, I know you run for different things like running for rescues, right?
Yeah, shout out to Running for Rescues for sure because I've been running for them and fundraising for the last several years. They're a nonprofit charity who basically uses runner donations to help save animals across the U.S. Like if animals are in need and say they get hit by a car and need surgery, but where is this funding going to come from? A lot of times volunteers and shelters, they lack funding and they're
Yeah.
overwhelmed. So Running for Rescues kind of like fills the gaps there. I'm big on that because I love, animals can't help themselves. Oftentimes they don't have a voice or a way to help themselves. So
Yeah.
I think that's very important. And they have really cool running gear. If you go to their website and buy like a t-shirt or something, 100% of that money goes to helping an animal in need. Or you can run for them too and raise money at their website. And then obviously shout out to Ultraverse supplements too, because I've been taking those, pretty religiously the last few years. And
Yeah.
I do feel like it makes a big difference in my game and my recovery to get back to it, sooner. And lastly, I think I got to give a shout out to Prehab San Diego because I've been an ambassador working with them a couple years now, and they're the ones that help me like with my they do gait analysis, they check my form, and we see different imbalances or inefficiencies, and I strength train specifically to work on those. They help get me moving again after ultras, so those have been the biggest help, I'd say.
Nice, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So for our code for this week, for this episode, do you want to do one that we have one for our races that has a furry finisher award since the Running for Rescues?
Yeah, we
If
could
you
do
finish,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't even think about this until
Yeah,
now.
we're making this up on the spot. So
It's
do you
not a
want it
professional
to do it
operation.
for Big Hell Creek or Little Hell Creek?
Let's do it for big.
Big Hell Creek?
Let's do it for big.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll use the code.
You could do Running for Rescues.
Yeah, we'll use the code Running for Rescues, and you can use that at the checkout at Ultra Sign Up and get how much off?
50.
$50
How many people?
for the first 5.
$50 for the first 5 who use the code Running
Wow.
for Rescues in the Hell Creek races. That's the Hell Creek races that are in October.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be spelled out in all little.
Yeah. All lowercase, Running for Rescues. If you can't spell that, then that's your
Then
own
you don't get to
problem.
run the race.
You need to get smarter.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
You bet, man.
Of course. Thanks for being on here.
Yes,
We
JJ. Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for being with us. It's really awesome that a few years ago you became an ambassador, and in
We've
those
gotten
few
to know
years
you.
you've become one of our best
Mhm.
friends. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not
we
always
can't wait to see
the
you again
case. Yeah.
in
It's
person.
nice that we actually get to interact with you, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah, I really appreciate the friendship through the years, and I feel like I got a family out there in the
Mhm.
Midwest area, which
Definitely.
I love so much.
do.
So
Come see us anytime.
yeah, maybe I'll do one of my camps out there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that would
that'd be
cool.
great. Yeah, awesome.
Awesome.
All right,
And
well-
so we are going to wrap it up here.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. See
Happy
you next
training
time.
and
Don't be a pussy.